Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and it's new expansion time coming up, which means we're going to do our usual retrospective, taking a look at the most current expansion and seeing whether it was a success or a failure, going through all the classes and seeing all the different archetypes and seeing, would you consider this expansion to be a good thing? Did it impact the meta in a positive way? And, just a fun little retrospective. And before we get into it, before we dive into each single class, I just wanted to thank you guys. As of recording this, I think we're just short of 30,000 subs, but I think we'll probably get there by the time this goes live. I have to go get my second shot, literally in a couple of hours, so I don't know if I'll be uploading tomorrow, but thank you guys so much. I have some cool stuff to announce, plus we'll have the mega bundles, extra mega bundle added to that giveaway, so enter it if you haven't. But you guys are incredible. 30,000 subscribers in like just less than a year and a half is just awesome. But anyways, let's take a look. Let's take a look if a Forged in the Barrens was a success or a failure. And before we get into class stuff, it is important to note that Forged in the Barrens have the introduction of the core set. Classic and basic was taken out and the core set was added in. We've talked a good amount about the core set, its negatives, its positives, but overall it's been a good thing for the game. It's free. The lack of cards have made this expansion even more important, since there's less cards in the core set than classic and basic. It's made the emphasis on the Barrens cards and prior expansions even more important. So let's start off with Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter, basically the main thing that was introduced for Demon Hunter was the death rattle stuff. You had like Razor Boar, which was started as a 2/2, was buffed to a 3/2. You have like Razorfen Beastmaster, Fell Rattler came in during the mini set, and and also Death Speaker Blackthorn, big part of it. You also had like this big demon package, which has seen some play, to be fair. But overall, Demon Hunter, one of the big success stories of Forged in the Barrens. A brand new archetype popped up. It's done very well. It's more of a mid-rangey strategy. The fails I would call for Demon Hunter is definitely the sigils. They introduced like Sigil of Silence, Sigil of Flame, Sigil of Summoning. Basically they're unique effects. You can't interact with them at all, where at the start of your turn they would do something, whether it dealt damage or summoned taunts. Sigil of Summoning saw a bit of play, but overall, the death rattle stuff really shined in. I would definitely give Demon Hunter a passing grade. Druid, coming into this expansion, had like Spell Druid, Token Druid, but they lost a ton of stuff. They lost like Swipe, Starfall, Savage Roar. So it really came down to Spell Druid style stuff or Token Druid style stuff. And they got an additional archetype in like Taunt Druid with like Razorman Battle Guard. This came in during the mini set. Mark of the Spike Shell. You saw Plague Maw, the Rotting, and basically the taunt stuff didn't come into fruition at all. We had Celestial Alignment, which a lot of us thought might be game breaking. It's not been good. It's ridiculously fun to play. It's pretty good and wild, but this will break the game, I'm certain, at some point, and people will not like it. It's one of those things where you don't get to play the game anymore if you're on the other side of it. But so far, alignment and standard hasn't had a big impact. But yeah, the Taunt Druid stuff really not working out. Druid just, like, I thought Guff was going to be insane because I thought it would work really well in Spell Druid, but turns out it's just not worth the cut. And the main card that's really done something is Pride's Fury. You put that into Token Druid and Thorngrow Sentries, just a couple of little things. We've seen a little bit of Living Seed in like Jombray Druid, but overall, Druid hasn't done a lot in Standard, and I would definitely say that the Druid stuff, pretty underwhelming, but Token Druid's one of the best decks in the game, but that's based mostly off Skullman's Academy, just for how ridiculous the cards were there. So overall, Druid not so great during Barrens. Hunter lost a ton of stuff going into this expansion as well. We saw like Highlander Hunter go away because all the Highlander cards are gone. Face Hunters, we knew it was going to change a lot because like Kill Command, Bow, Companion. A lot of people thought Hunter would be bad. Turned out Hunter was really good because they got a lot of good cards. Wound Prey, exceptional. Kolkar Pack Runner, really good. Piercing Shot, extremely good as well. And Warsong Wrangler, very powerful. And Barak, incredibly good card, especially with Barak in the neutral set. So overall, Hunter, mainly Face Hunter, really good, strong deck from Hunter, and there's a lot of good cards in Hunter right now. Like Sunscale Raptor is pretty solid. You got like the Rank Spell, Pat Kodo. There's some good cards that just don't have an archetype to support it. So I'd say Hunter was a very successful story during Barrens, but mostly on the aggressive side of things, but lots to look out for Hunter. Definitely a passing grade there. Mage was a myriad of weird stuff. It's like the hero power stuff. We saw some like frost freeze stuff going on, and that was about it for Mage, and it did not pan out very well at all in terms of the new stuff. Ruined Orb is like the standout card, along with Refreshing Spring Water are probably the two most powerful cards. This one was actually nerfed, but yeah, Spell Mage became like the big thing with Forge of the Barrens, which was already a pre-existing deck, but with the addition of Refreshing Spring Water, with Deck of Lunacy becoming more powerful with all the cards rotating out, that deck is incredibly powerful, still good today, but everything else for Mage basically just a complete and utter disappointment. Hero Power Mage has not worked out. The Freeze Mage stuff absolutely has not worked out, and yeah, I definitely would say Forge has kind of been a massive fail for the Mage cards thus far. Paladin, on the other hand, was absolutely busted. Coming into this expansion, we had like Libram Paladin, which is really good, Pure Paladin, which has only one card left in the whole archetype, and some aggro stuff, but yeah, they got some just broken cards. Conviction, Knight of Anointment. We saw a secret package with Galloping Savior, Sword of the Fallen, which was nerfed. Northwatch Commander, incredibly good. Cariel Ram is really good. And yeah, the secret stuff just hard carried, was ridiculously strong in Paladin, and led to some nerfs to like first day of school. Like I said, Sword of the Fallen, just incredibly good stuff for Paladin. Paladin's fallen off a lot since the nerfs, but it's still a viable class. But basically it was the secret package, right? The secret stuff, the Caravans did nothing. This adventure stuff has done nothing. Invigorated Ceremon's done nothing. Seed Cloud Buckler effectively has done nothing. War Medic again. So overall, it's kind of a mixed bag with Paladin. A lot of it was just pre-existing stuff with the addition of the secret synergies, just kind of putting everything over the top. But Paladin definitely gets a passing grade just because literally Knight of Anointment and Conviction are so unbelievably strong. Really powerful stuff. Priest got like some healing stuff, a lot of healing stuff, and some spell stuff. Most of the stuff that makes Priest really good is from prior sets. The additions that have made a bit of impact in Standard were like Devouring Plague, in particular Flesh Giants for a little bit. That was seeing some play. Desperate Prayer with Zarella. Condemn, pretty powerful AoE. And that's about it. Like I said, Zarella as well. Against All Odds has been more of a created by option, and Light Shower Elemental is a staple in Control Priest these days. It's healing, it's a good raise dead target, it's good with N'Zoth. Priest, I'd still give a pass. There's some good tools, and maybe when Priest gets away from Infinite Random at some point, some of these cards can see some play, because there's some powerful stuff here. It's just, why would you play it when you can just get it randomly, right? So I'll give Priest a pass. So overall, so far, I'd say we're about 50% on passes with what we got. Demon Hunter, and Hunter, and Priest and Paladin passing, with Mage and Druid kind of not so much. Rogue got some also incredible stuff. The Octobot coming to the game, effectively a cheaper Thorson. It unlocked a new Miracle Rogue with Field Contact. Miracle Rogue basically came back into the game because Auctioneer costs 2 mana, which is pretty good. It's pretty insane. We also saw a new Weapon Rogue variant with the Shank. We got Hellburn, which doesn't really work that well, but you have like these poisons, Paralytic Poison, Silverleaf Poison. You have new Reach with Wicked Stab. Like, Rogue got a fair amount of good stuff, and a lot of it doesn't even see play. Like, a Scabs is a really good card, but you got Kazakus and other stuff, and you don't have a ton to combo with it. I have to say it's good. Novo kill me otherwise. And yeah, Oil Rig Ambusher is not too bad. Again, Rogue got a lot of good tools. A lot of it they don't use, like this stealth stuff, like Shroud of Concealment, Water Moccasin, this Savior, Deviant Delight's kind of a bizarre card, doesn't really see much play, as well as Yoink is not bad, sees limited play, but overall, again, I'd say Rogue got a passing grade. I really think the Miracle Rogue stuff is a lot of fun. It can be a little absurd with the mana cheat, but overall, I approve of the Rogue cards. Shaman started off horrific. Shaman was basically unplayable until the mini set added some playable cards in Wailing Vapor and Primal Dungeoneer gave Shaman some card draw, and all of a sudden Shaman was playable. Before that, it was like the Murloc stuff, which hasn't worked in Standard. It's really good in Wild, and that's, yeah, a couple of elemental things like Arid Stormer. Lilypad Lurker got buffed. It's absurd now. Earth Revenant. Brucan at Diamond Cards, he's like no play. It's kind of a shame. And then, yeah, like Shaman actually got a lot of good card quality. Just they didn't have the draw to put it together, and then when you give them draw, they put it together, and Shaman is really good right now. So if you're factoring in the mini set and Forge of the Barrens, I'll give Shaman a pass, but it was looking pretty sketchy until that happened. Warlock, yikes. Warlock got the whole delete archetype, which might be fun. Rarren might enjoy it, but it's not particularly competitive. And you got Stealer's Souls in the mini set, which broke Wild, didn't impact Standard a heck of a lot. And you got this Caravan, which is terrible. You got a lot of cards that don't see any play because Warlock doesn't see any play. I gotta give Warlock a fat fail in this expansion. Just super unimpactful. And even in Wild, like all the cards that are really good in Wild, besides, well, Stealer of Souls, basically come from prior sets. The exception being Tamsin in Dark Lair, giving you that PO reach, which is just absolutely absurd. So Warlock, oof, big fail this expansion. And Warrior got a lot of stuff. They got a lot of good stuff, yet very little of it sees play. Conditioning saw play, which was a surprise to many. I will say I gave that card a meta rank. I thought I would see play, so I actually got that one right. Rakara, Outrider's Axe, mostly in Wild. Everyone thought this card would be nuts, myself included, but only really in Wild does it see much play. I'm sure that'll change over time. But yeah, this Frenzy stuff has not panned out as well as people would have hoped. Rancor sees some play. Whirling Combatant got buffed. Stonewall Anchorman's a solid card. Crash came in the mini set. It's pretty good. Sour Fang, like it's good, but not great. And the main archetype that's good for Warrior is Rush Warrior, which mostly uses old cards. I'm gonna give Warrior a fail on this regard. I just don't think these cards made a big enough impact to make up for what Warrior was losing. Primarily Risky Skipper rotating, shield block going away. Like, Warrior's playable, but it's not great, and it's mostly just Rush Warrior, which again mostly uses old cards outside of a conditioning, outside of Rakara, and some people run Anchorman. But other than that, like, this control package has not worked out yet. I think the Warrior set is sweet. It'll work out eventually, but the tools are just not quite there yet. But I think it will get there as long as, you know, some things get toned down or Warrior gets a good boost in the next expansion. And then just looking through the neutrals, neutrals had a good amount of impact early on. We had like the Watch Posts. They were really strong, and then they got nerfed. Kindling Elemental, basically a Shaman card. The Adventure stuff, a complete whiff. Murloc stuff, again, good and Wild with Shaman, but that's about it. The Frenzy mechanic as a whole didn't really work out too well, but again, you've got Deathhead's Cultist has been a solid card. Naralax, Devouring Ectoplasm, pretty solid. Mankrik was nerfed. Nerfed originally was a 310. It would give you the Wife Charger, but still really solid, strong card. Scorpid has been incredibly impactful, as well as Blade Master Samuro. Kazak is a very powerful card. South Sea Scoundrel, one of the sleepers of the set. Priest utilizes it extremely well. And again, you got a lot of bad Frenzy cards. Mutinous is a pretty sweet card. The neutrals, pretty much more of a miss than a hit, honestly. There's a lot of underwhelming stuff, especially the Frenzy mechanic just did not work out. I'll give the neutrals overall, honestly, kind of more of on the lower end of the spectrum of things. I'm not as impressed, and overall, that's kind of how I feel about Forge of the Barrens. It did create some archetypes, some stuff popped up, most classes had something to do, but overall, it felt kind of underwhelming, not a lot of fun. It felt like a very uninteresting, like, the stuff you did in this meta, all the stuff, the cards we looked at, kind of lacks that fun, that explosive, cool factor. It's just kind of there, right? Like, it's all playable for the most part, but it's just kind of there. So overall, I will say Forge of the Barrens was a minor success, not a failure, a minor success, but I'm hoping for a much more exciting, stimulating expansion coming up. And with the whole new quest lines and all of that coming in, it looks like we'll probably get that. So looking forward to the next one. And yeah, catch me in like 4 months. We'll review United and Stormwind and see if that was a success or a failure. So if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for the support. Hopefully I'll be on tomorrow, but again, it depends on how I'm feeling after that shot. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.